will be your conference operator today. At this time, I'll begin a football update conference call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question-and-answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you. I would now like to turn it over to Anthony Herron. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. As Stephanie noted, my name is Anthony Herron. I'm the Vice President of Broadcast Communications and Branding for the Arena Football League. It's a lengthy job title. That's why I didn't burden Stephanie with announcing that for me. But we're extremely excited to have members of the media from around the country joining us on the line here. With the Arena Football League office, there's been a number of initiatives that we've been working to put in place through the hard work of a number of different people, not only in the league office, but in different areas around the country, and not just working in the regular 9 to 5, Monday through Friday type of hours. So there's, certainly some good news that we want to put out today. And there's also been, some other occurrences within the league over the past few months that have already been out there, but that we want to make sure that people hear certain news from us as well while we take this opportunity. Some of the things that we're going to cover on the call today will be the collective bargaining agreement that's been agreed to and signed between the league and the Players Union, our National Game of the Week package that we're very excited about, that we have an agreement with for the next season and or a couple of seasons, which we'll get into further detail on. Our national partner, that we will have some exciting news and some updates there for one of our national partners, and also our regular season schedule, which we will not list in detail here on the call, but that will be released after we get off the line. And I know a lot of people have been highly anticipating the full schedule for the 2013 season being released, and so that will come out on the line, but we will make a couple of brief updates just to let you know a couple of the big events that will be part of our 2013 regular season and postseason schedule. Joining us on the line, not only myself, but Commissioner Jerry Kurz is here, and I will turn it over to him in just a moment for some opening remarks, but we also have Lynn Swan, who you all know very well, Ron Jaworski, and also Neil Pilson is joining us as well. And so I will turn this over for now to Commissioner Kurz for a bit more of a formal introduction of who's joining us on the line and for some of his opening remarks. And so without further ado, the leader of the Arena Football League, Commissioner Jerry Kurz. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Anthony. I am pleased on behalf of our owners, players, and staff to address the media today from across the country, and also to be joined today with such a distinguished group. We have with us, as Anthony identified, Neil Pilson, the AFL's longtime broadcast consultant, former president of CBS Sports as a leading voice in the broadcast industry, and been with the league for many, many years. Lynn Swan, an NFL Hall of Fame member, one of our Pittsburgh Power owners, a leader in our partnership sales effort, and a former network broadcaster himself, as well as Ron Jaworski, well known not only as a tremendous NFL quarterback and accomplished broadcaster, but one of our owners as well with the Philadelphia Soul, as well a leader into our international ventures upcoming. Additionally, we have a very special guest with us that will be introduced to you later in the call. We've scheduled this call to address a number of great initiatives and partnerships for our 2013 season. We clearly acknowledge that without our dedicated fans, we would not be commencing our 26th season. We want to thank our fans and partners for supporting us and staying with us through the challenges we faced last season. Well-documented challenges. Securing a 5-year collective bargaining agreement with our players. This collective bargaining agreement gives our league tremendous and much-needed stability as we look forward to maximizing the exciting new opportunities. The CBA allows players to sign multi-year contracts, which will provide increased fan identity with our players. Player compensation has increased in concert with increased fan interest and plans for responsible growth. We were pleased to announce a 3-year renewal with a number of our long-time and fantastic partners. Russell Athletic, providing our on-field apparel and game uniforms. Spalding, providing our fan-favorite game ball. And Rydell, our equipment partner. We are also so pleased to announce that a great AFL partner, Net10 Wireless, one of the leading nationwide no-contract phone providers in the country, returns as our title partner for our national broadcast for another season. Net 10 and the AFL have taken a step further together in that Net 10 Wireless will be the title partner of the AFL. This is a landmark partnership as Net 10 Wireless will now be deeply integrated with the entire AFL. We're proud to announce today that for the 2013 season, the Arena Football League will be known as the Net 10 Wireless AFL. We have 16 teams this season, with 14 being active and 2 in dormancy. One, of course, is Milwaukee, that's reforming and will join us back for the 2014 season, and the other an expansion team for the Northeast that will open in the 2014 season as well. Contraction is never easy. However, it can, in many instances, be a positive move as it is here for us. Contraction here is a sound business decision. It is not surely for lack of talent or dedicated fans, and we never want to deprive our great and passionate fans of their local team. However, all sports leagues must be operated in a sound business manner to facilitate growth, to continue to build a strong foundation, and for sustainability. We are dedicated to delivering an exceptional experience which will create extraordinary fans. We are both honored and pleased today that we have agreed to a partnership with CBS Sports for a multi-year broadcast agreement. The CBS name is one of the most respected in sports broadcasting. Regular season and playoff games will air on CBS Sports Network, while our Arena Bowl 26, and I say that again, Arena Bowl 26, will broadcast on CBS television on Saturday the 17th of August with a 1:30 p.m. kickoff. Games will be broadcast on Saturday nights in prime time with the ability to adjust kickoff times to fit all time zones. Our partnership these past 3 years with the NFL Network was great. However, we understandably needed to adhere to their NFL responsibilities. We are the largest professional sports property on CBS Sportsnet, and being supported and emphasized in that way will increase our brand awareness. Our special guest today is Dan Weinberg, Senior Vice President of Programming for CBS Sportsnet and a driving force behind this partnership, and I will call on Dan to say a few words about our future together. Dan, pleased to have you. Turn the floor to you.
Jerry, thanks so much. The first thing that I want to say here very clearly is to echo Jerry's remarks and, just say that we at CBS Sports Network and CBS Sports are incredibly excited about the partnership. It's really been a terrific experience already to forge the relationship with Jerry, with Anthony, with the entire Arena Football League team. And listen, when you think about the appealing qualities of this property from a TV perspective, several things jump to mind. It's innovative. It's fast-paced, action-packed, tons of exciting moments in every one of the games. And obviously, with 25 years of history, Jerry and his team have really built a league that specializes in offense, that prides itself on being fan-friendly, and really spotlights the skill positions on a football field. And these are precisely the things that are appealing from a programming perspective. The sports fan base, as we all know, continues to just sink its teeth into all things related to football. And the Arena Football League is certainly proof positive of that, having built up a passionate fan base, as Jerry alluded to, for over a quarter century. And needless to say, creating a partnership, with Jerry and company is a great step. And particularly given that we can focus on the spring, which, as we all know, is a time of year when football fans are starved for that on-field action. I'll just take a minute here to talk about ourselves, the CBS Sports Network. It's important to note we've seen tremendous growth overall in live events, more than doubling our live hours in just the last year alone. And with this announcement and this partnership, we'll continue to increase that number. So once again, really tremendous thanks to Jerry and his team. We feel great about entering the partnership with the Arena Football League as they enter their next quarter century as a league. So, Jerry, let me throw it back to you.
Thank you, Dan. I'd like now to formally introduce, I alluded to who he was. He's a great friend as well, but Lynn Swann. You all know him not only as a tremendous Hall of Fame member of the NFL Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame, a great Steeler over many years, one of our owners of our Pittsburgh Power team, former broadcaster himself, but also someone who has given time and effort repeatedly to assist the league in growing the league in many ways, Lynn, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you with us, and I'd like to turn it over to you.
Commissioner Kurz, thank you very much. It's indeed a pleasure to be able to address the national media and talk a little bit about the Pittsburgh Power Arena football team and our perspective on where the league is going and the importance of this new relationship with CBS. Now, the Power has been in the Arena Football League coming into its third year. We in Pittsburgh, certainly, all of us who wear the black and gold, and that is the color of the Pittsburgh Power, want to emulate and to copy the kind of organizations that have done well here in Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Steelers, we play in the same arena as the Penguins, have a great history, great organization, great management, and we want to make sure that we bring a product to the city of Pittsburgh that fits. Although our baseball team has suffered a little bit over the last couple of decades, they still have a great history in baseball. And we certainly have goals to make sure that our team is competitive and a championship team and fits well. We built up a very good relationship with the management team of the Consol Energy Center with the Penguins for long-term leases to make sure that we're here for a long time. And it's, as the commissioner pointed out, the 26th year of the Arena Football League. Our ownership group, Matt Shaner and his father, Lance Shaner, myself, made a commitment to bring a team here to Pittsburgh and to bring it for the long term, not for the short term. We understand how important it is, and certainly I do with about 30 years of broadcast experience, what a great relationship with a media partner can mean to this organization. We are not yet like the NFL, where we have multiple national media partners, but we believe that this is a beginning, and that we can build the relationships to be strong for all of us who have worked with the league in terms of bringing in sponsorships, talking to folks about the growth and the potential of the Arena Football League. We understand how important these relationships are, and our local sponsors are excited about what we've done and what the league is doing, bringing more attention to the Arena Football League. Just this last weekend, Pittsburgh Power held its third open tryout. I know most people in football think about open tryouts as something that doesn't make a lot of sense, or you're not really doing it seriously. But we in Pittsburgh have done it seriously. We've found talent in each one of the open tryouts that we've had over the last 2 years, and in this third open tryout, there are probably about 4 players that we may offer contracts to that we found in this open tryout. And I believe commissioners may have been the first combine. That's one of the first combines that might have been held for the Arena Football League. On last Sunday, we had 7 teams who came in and participated in the open tryout process, and we had well over 150 players who came in to get a look, who wanted to be a part of this process. So it speaks well of the talent that's out there, wanting to play in this league, wanting to do well, having an opportunity to play football, and the organization. So we look forward to our third year to building an even more competitive team and helping to build a stronger league. So, Commissioner, I'll give it back to you.
Thank you, sir, my friend. Next, we have Ron Jaworski. Ron, as I alluded to before as well, we all know his prowess as an NFL great quarterback. Now a tremendous broadcaster as well as Lynn. We see Ron and hear Ron all the time, but so proud and pleased not only to have him as a friend, but also as one of our owners of the Philadelphia Soul. And Ron has been instrumental, as Lynn has, in helping us move our league forward, both expansion-wise and partnership-wise. But now Ron also has another hat to wear, and he'll be talking about that. Ron, pleasure to have you today.
Hey, Commissioner, thank you very much. It certainly is an honor to be on this call with Dan and Lynn and Neil and all those people that care so much about the Arena Football League. And this really is a historic morning for the Arena Football League. And I say that in total respect for what we're doing with CBS, because there is no doubt that this commitment by CBS and the commitment of the Arena Football League to partner is going to drive not only CBS programming, their live program, but the Arena Football League. So this is a historic morning as I look at it. And if you look at the growth of football, and I'm not talking just about the National Football League, you look at all levels of football. The Saturday night packages of college football are now taking off. That's why I'm so excited that this spring, our game, the great Arena Football League game, is going to be televised nationally on CBS Sportsnet, and of course, you know, the Arena Bowl on CBS over the air. And Dan, I thank you for your commitment to the Arena Football League as this league continues to grow. You know, we've had a magnificent 25 seasons, and as we approach the next 25, this is a very, very exciting partnership. And, you know, I thank my other partners here in Philadelphia with the Soul. I thank my partners around the Arena Football League, the other owners, and their commitment to grow the Arena Football League. And Jerry and the executive staff at the Arena Football League have done a tremendous job of growing this league. When you think of a league lasting 25 seasons, it's quite remarkable. And to be in a position now to grow this game is very, very exciting for me. And Lynn touched upon the players, and I think that's what it's all about. You know, we've run these tryout camps, and we've signed players, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It's what excites me. I know it's what excites Lynn, and I know it's what excites the other owners around the league, that we are giving these young men an opportunity to pursue their dreams, to play professional football, to play in front of 17,000 screaming fans at the Wells Fargo Center or any other arenas around the league. And that's what makes it fun. We are, to a certain degree, kind of a throwback league. You know, none of these players are tainted by huge contracts, being prima donnas. They play because they love the game of football, just like I do, just like Lynn Swan does, and just like everyone else associated with the Arena Football League does. We have a great passion for the game, and that's what makes our game so special. You know, our fans love our game. We have very loyal fans. We have very loyal sponsor partners. So that's what I say, this is a very historic day. So it's a pleasure to join you guys, and I want to wrap it up by announcing, and many of you have heard it, but the Arena Football League is expanding overseas to China. I was in Beijing in August, met with all the leaders of the Chinese government, and we consummated a deal to bring arena football to China. 1.3 billion people will be exposed to our great game. It is a very exciting time for the Arena Football League. We've been embraced by the people of China. Next fall, we are going to play exhibition games in China. The number of those games has not been determined yet. We have an office that is fully staffed, already up and operating in China. And in 2014, we will have a 10-game schedule played in China. The Arena Football League has been embraced by the people of China, the Chinese government, and we are very excited about this opportunity to take our great game to the great country of China. I could not tell you how excited I was of spending time in Beijing with the leaders of the Chinese government and their love for the game of American sports and our American way of life. So it is something that I hope in 20 or 30 years I'm around to really see how this thing will take off. But it is very exciting news. That's why I say today is really a historic day for the Arena Football League. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, my friend. Anthony, we'll turn it back over to you for some additional information and then to open it for questions from the media.
And Stephanie, before I make a couple of closing remarks, you can please put out the queue information again so we can begin the queuing for a question and answer session after my closing remarks here.
At this time, if you would like to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, that is star, then the number 1 to ask a question.
And to kind of close out the remarks session here, part of the CBS partnership that's slightly separate from television, but that we're certainly excited about, is that we will also be looking to revamp the AFL website and to upgrade what we're doing from a streaming perspective. And CBS Interactive runs a number of the college football websites around the country, and the roughly 75% of BCS conference websites, and they have a large degree of success with their streaming platform. And so we've also launched a partnership with CBS Interactive to try to upgrade what we're doing as a league from a digital perspective. And I think that's most of you on the line know how important that is, not only is Facebook and Twitter, but the way that we're able to interface with our fans online. And, I felt like we made some upgrades there last season, but we're certainly excited about the upgrades we're going to continue to make heading towards season 26. And you heard Lynn talk about things like just being a beginning, and Ron talk about the league being an opportunity for players to pursue their dreams. Everything that we can do in AFL media to make sure that we're increasing the brand identity of the AFL certainly plays into that. And one of the things that Lynn mentioned were some of the tryout camps, and so you can view right now on the Arena Football League website a partnership with Beyond Sports Network that the league has, where there's going to be further tryout camps coming up in a number of locations around the country. So we certainly urge you to go on there, click on the link. It's a big banner we have on the website. Jimmy Kibble and Beyond Sports Network have done a nice job so far, and they're going to continue to try and implement some different combines that we do as a league around the country. And also we have an AFL Classic channel now that we've launched with a company called FilmOn.tv, and a lot of our fans have been able to locate that website and see some of the things that we're doing online, showing some of our classic programming online and also airing it in the Los Angeles market on television every Sunday as well. And as I referenced earlier in the call, we will be releasing the full 2013 regular season schedule after we finish this teleconference. And one of the exciting games is actually going to be the opening game, which will be a rematch of the Arena Bowl between Philadelphia and Arizona. So that will take place on the CBS Sports Network. That'll be on Saturday, March 23rd. And so that's the first highlight game of the season, which will be during our opening weekend. So very excited to announce that. And after we get off the line, as I mentioned, the full schedule will be released. So all you folks who have been asking for it, clamoring for it, that will be out as soon as we hop off the call. And I believe at this point, Stephanie, we can open it up to some questions from the public for our distinguished guests here.
Your first question comes from the line of Don Walker with the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel.
Morning. It's a question for the Commissioner. Commissioner, what exactly went wrong in Milwaukee, and do you anticipate new owners when the dormancy period ends?
No, Don, good to hear from you. It's always easy to do an autopsy, and sometimes it's a value and sometimes not. I think Chris and his group that came in and took over lead of the team did an awful lot. I think who they inherited from caused some challenges, but they're great, passionate fans in your market, tremendous building, great partners locally. I fully expect Chris to be back with some additional partners. That's why they were granted dormancy. Dormancy isn't granted easy. They had to petition, appear before the other partners in the league, and everybody has full faith and credit that Chris will reformulate, bring in some additional partners, and be back for our 2014 season.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your next question comes from Jerry Kurz with the Pittsburgh Tribune.
Hey, Jerry. Nice to talk to you again. How are you?
Always great to hear from you.
Tell me a little bit about the league this year, how many games teams are going to play. Is it going to be 15 franchises in 2013 rather than the 17 you had last year?
Well, we have 16 members, 14 active, and we'll play a full 18-game schedule. The owners, again, have decided to play an 18-game schedule. Discuss that with the AFL-PU, and everybody feels that that's what our fans want, as much arena football as possible. So an 18-game schedule again.
And on the 14 active teams, if I'm not mistaken, it was 17 last year. Is that right?
Yes, it was.
So Milwaukee and two other franchises won't be playing in 2013?
Correct. Two have been contracted, one in dormancy, and we've added an active member that's an expansion team, but won't be playing to 2014, partly to give them the time to launch, but more importantly, they need to secure their lease. And when we, in the past, mistakenly have let out the name of an expansion market, it sort of takes away any ability to have any leverage whatsoever in contract negotiations for a lease, which is crucial.
What are the two teams that are contracting?
Georgia and Kansas City.
Okay. And those players who were there last year, they'll be free agents?
Well, as it was in the past, till the collective bargaining agreement was signed, players were under a one-year contract and everybody was a free agent at the expiration of last season.
Okay.
A number of those players have already signed with other teams.
So Georgia, Kansas City, and Milwaukee. Now, do you expect the franchises in those two cities, Georgia and Kansas City, in the future?
That'll be for the board discussion. Milwaukee is the only one of those teams that have been granted dormancy, and will be back in 2014. But we'd love to be back in Georgia, love to be back in Kansas City. Both great markets, great fans, business decision on contraction.
How many players in ballpark figure have signed the new multi-year contracts that are part of the new CBA?
I don't know the exact figure. However, CBA, and it's so important to our fans, we went ahead and posted it on our website. Teams can sign 5 players to 3-year contracts, unlimited to 2. And a large number of our players have signed multi-year contracts, and it's something we wanted. The union supported greatly, as well as the players, so we can have fans in markets for multiple years, as I talked about in open remarks, to have that fan identity with our players.
And this is Lynn Swan. I mean, to that point, building a team in an organization, in a franchise, in a particular city, you can brand the team. But the fans truly do identify with individual players. And so when you have the ability to know that you're going to have a top player that the fans identify with, like in our case, a guy who we found in the first open tryout from Beaver Falls, a guy named Mike Washington, who played for the University of Hawaii, who has been consistently our best receiver for the Pittsburgh Power. And the fans identify with him. When you only have him for a 1-year contract, you're not quite sure if he's going to come back because other teams would like to have him. It's hard for you to brand that guy and feel comfortable. Now with a 2 or 3-year contract, he's going to be on your team. He's now made that commitment. More players make that commitment to your team and your city, and they engage the fans in the community. I mean, the fact that our fans can come out of the stands at the end of the game, go down to the field, get autographs, talk to the players, touch them, feel them, and indeed, while they're playing the game, if it's on the sideline, they hit the boards, they go into the stands. As the commissioner always says, you can keep the football, but you have to give the players back. It's a totally different, close-up, personal relationship with those players. And the fact that we can have players to long-term contracts for our fans to identify with helps us build our brand and build our market.
Very good, Lynn. Well said.
Your next question comes from the line of Kevin Pecos with ESPN Radio.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'd like to find out if local radio will be put in place for home and away games for each of the teams in the league this year. That's something that the fans we talked to, they missed that terribly.
I can address some of that. It is local inventory for the teams, so we support that. And I think most of our teams had that. A couple had some lapses in that, but I believe every team is moving in that direction and understands the value of local radio. That's why we have web broadcasting this year, assisted by CBS Interactive, that all our fans are able to watch our games online free of charge. And radio is another added element that gets our brand out there and supports our fans. So I believe all our teams are moving in that direction.
Hey,
or Ron?
Yes. Yeah, Jerry?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no question that I know in Philadelphia we believe strongly in the radio marketplace. Unfortunately for us, we believe, we are in a strong market as far as competition, and actually acquiring dates to air all our games has been our biggest problem, not our lack of willingness to put the games on, but the glut of competition in other sports makes it difficult to get a consistent schedule. But yes, we strongly believe in the local radio.
And as well as we do here in Pittsburgh, and we've had local radio packages for each of our first 2 seasons, and look forward to a third.
Yes, guys, to the part on the viewing on the web and so on, that's great. I follow the teams on that, but there's a huge, especially here in Arizona, a huge following that really that is their biggest hang-up in attraction to the team is there is no local radio. It is difficult to follow games completely just using web devices.
Oh, no, you're correct. And as I said, Our teams that have not been able to do that will assist them, as will staff, and even our one of the things that I really appreciate about our ownership is that our ownership always steps forward and helps every other owner. We're great competitors on the field, but off the field, and this is said by all our partners, all our team owners, that they're partners. And so teams that have had some challenges have reached out to their partners who have had some success, and will continue to move forward in that direction.
On the question of open tryouts, those are pretty exciting events. The only drawback that I see is when the Rattlers first came to Arizona, I met with Pete Catella. He's a player personnel director in the Scout, and in a private interview, and he basically told me that the AFL, just like the other pro teams, is really just looking for guys who played college and are on the NFL draft list or in the eye of the scouts. But the open tryouts are kind of thrown open to anybody who wants to walk in there, even if he's 385 pounds. Would it be wise to limit it to just actual eligible candidates instead of a cattle call?
And I'm also going to ask Lynn and Ron to address it. However, my experience is pretty long time over the league, and on multiple levels, and there was that school of thought at a time with Pete, and Pete was great in his job and did a tremendous job for the league and Rattlers. However, there's volumes on players who, for whatever reason, family, other things that may have interceded in their life, may not have been able to complete college or attend college for a number of years, who yet possess the skill. And so open tryouts are still valuable to find those players. The NFL has changed over the years. It used to be if you didn't come from a big school, you weren't even going to make the dartboard. Yet they increased their scouting ability, capabilities in order to be able to find players from any place they might exist. And we want to be able to do the same thing and be a league of opportunity. Ron or Lynn, anything to add?
Yeah, Jerry, I'll expound on that, and I think back to 2004, which was the inaugural season for the Philadelphia Soul. We had an open tryout camp at Temple University, and 1,300 potential players showed up. And that is correct. I said 1,300 potential players showed up, and it was a very exciting time. As I said, this league is great for young players that aspire to live the dream. Now, there were probably 50 quality football players there, but every one of those people were put through, and there were some women, by the way, as well. They were put through a combine style workouts. Clearly, there are people that want to give, professional football a try, even though they are a long shot. Now, recently, about a month ago, we now hold our open tryout camps at the NovaCare Center, which is the Philadelphia Eagles training facility, first-class facility. We had over 200 players come out. We'll have another one in January. And we do now get more of a focused football player rather than just someone coming out and say, hey, I tried out for a pro football team. And they go through a complete combine workout. It is an intense 2.5-hour workout for each player, from the 40-yard dash, the short shuttle, the long shuttle, to individual drills. So clearly we give the players a good look. And each year we find 2 or 3 players that we bring to training camp. Just like Lynn was talking about, there are players out there, and it's kind of the most unique question that I answer almost on a daily basis. Where do you guys get the players? It is no problem finding football players. There's an abundance of people out there that love the game of football, just like we do, and they want to try to live the dream. So we find players through these open tryout camps.
And this is Lynn Swan. I mean, and certainly what you're hearing from the commissioner and from Ron, we take these very seriously. It's a process when you have an open tryout. You may have 1,300 players who show up, as Ron just alluded to, in Philadelphia. But next tryout and next open is going to be, half that number or a third of that number as you will it down to those players you're looking for and who'll have an opportunity to play. Then you may have a camp where there's 50 to 100 players and it's much more intense, many more reps for the players. And if you do it the way we did in Pittsburgh on last Sunday, where there are several teams there, then those players are being watched and looked at, and all their data is being acquired by more teams. And so there's more of an opportunity. Players get hurt. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger may not be playing next week, maybe out for a couple of weeks. Okay, a backup player gets a chance to play. They played Kansas City. Matt Castle was a starting quarterback. Well, Matt Castle was a backup behind 2 Heisman Trophy winners when he was at college at USC. Was a backup, to a guy who throws the ball pretty good out in New England who got hurt and showed he could play. Next thing you know, he's traded to Kansas City. He's got a big contract, and he's their starting quarterback. So, I'm not trying to say that every time we have an open trial, we're going to find a guy like a Matt Castle. But we have guys who want to play, and the opportunity to play may not come right away. But as long as they're in the queue and we have their information, there may be an opportunity to present it, and that's why we do it. Now, we'll take it a little bit further. It's also a great way of marketing your team, for players to come out. I dare say if an NFL team said they're going to have an open tryout, they might get a few thousand guys who come out there. But the NFL doesn't have to market that way. They're a sold-out product, and they do a great job. When we have an open tryout and guys come out and they say they have a chance to try out for the Pittsburgh Power or the Philadelphia Soul or any of the team, they're in many ways they want to challenge and test themselves. Can I do that? They get a newfound respect for what it takes to be an arena football player. Suddenly you're going in there, you're diving for passes up against a wall on the barricade, you've got the short field, it's a constant sprint, the fastest game indoors. And so suddenly you're developing a fan base. And these people can very often be the best marketers and word of mouth for coming out to watch a game. I see them in the stands every week. Guys who have tried out, and they're bringing their girlfriends or bringing their buddies and pals or bringing their family, they're bringing their kids. So it's beneficial on several levels.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. That was awesome. On China, my last question. On China, are there going to be any U.S. teams playing in China? And if not right away, is that in the future to have across the ocean games?
Absolutely. Eventually there will be. In fact, next fall, we will take present Arena Football League players to China to play the exhibition games. And as time moves on, in 14, when we'll have actually Chinese teams playing, they will be predominant American players until we develop a base of Chinese players that can play the Arena Football League game. We may start out with 4 Chinese players, and the next year maybe 6 Chinese players. That clearly will be determined on how well they are assimilated into the game of professional football. If they develop quickly, who knows, we could have all Chinese players somewhere down the road. It's a little bit of uncharted waters right now, but clearly, for the exhibition games, we will take present Arena Football League players to China, and there certainly are incredible athletes in China. I was literally blown away seeing the number of weightlifters and sprinters and the athletic people that are over in China that I think once they learn the game of football, they'll integrate rather quickly.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the line of John Lombardo with Sports Business Journal.
Hey, John.
How you doing?
Doing great.
Tell me a little bit more about the title sponsorship with Net 10 Wireless. Is it one for one deal? I mean, they did the national broadcast previously. And what kind of activation, participation do you see that comes with the title sponsorship?
A tremendous partnership. Yes, they were our title partner last year for our broadcast. They'll be our title partner again for our national broadcast on CBS Sportsnet and CBS. But Net 10 Wireless, as I said, one of the leading nationwide no-contract phone providers in the country, is going to be fully integrated with our league. They're our league presenting partner. They'll be branded throughout our league. Tremendous presence. One of the things that will be rolled out in the weeks to come, but I always like to let you in on the inside knowledge, and now everybody's going to get on it. And Net 10 will also be branded on our rebound nets in our arenas. But they'll be an integral partner with us in branding throughout every arena, every team, and broadcast. It's a tremendous partnership with a tremendous company who came to us last year, and we grew together, and so excited that we're going to have them into the future.
So the presenting, I guess it's the title sponsorship, it's just for 2013 at this point?
Yes, a lot of companies, almost like government work, I sometimes joke, are prohibited by their bylaws, their operating rules for 1 year at a time. It has an option. But we know, just as last year was our foundational year with Net 10, they come back and increase their presence and their partnership with us, and we'll be together as partners, I know, for many years to come.
And it's just, and is this the AFL's first title sponsorship league-wide? I know you've had the broadcast stuff.
Yes, it's the first time for a season-long partner.
Okay.
And it's because this is the first time we had a partner of this magnitude, this credibility, and fit with us so well, and being the partner with us. It fits.
Your next question comes from the line of Richard Obert with the Arizona Republic.
Hey, Richard, how are you?
Hey, guys. Hey, Jerry, thanks for this call you guys are doing. It's tremendous. And just want to cover the Rattlers here in Arizona and for Arizona Republic, AZ Central. And I know last year when they got to the Arena Bowl, the late start, NFL Network kind of pushed it back because of the Jets game, and just kind of didn't have that same impact, that same effect, and maybe lost a lot of fans. And I just wondered if the neutral site, will that remain? Is that important to play that one place so you can be able to plan, or do you ever see it going back to the home field, kind of home field advantage kind of thing, and get more of a atmosphere in the championship game?
Great question. And I think both atmospheres are great, and both have great things, and some have some challenges. It's an ownership decision that is being worked on now, and one of the things that the owners will address shortly will be whether to continue with the neutral site and the process for that, or going back to the host site. But it was one of the things that really drew us to CBS, and in our discussions with Dan and with Neil Pilson's help as well, is being able to have a broadcast partner that we were a primary focus. As I said, it was great being with NFL Network. However, we weren't primary, and we knew that. However, with CBS Sports, we've got a secure window, having the expansive window on Saturday night so that we could address both coast and across the country on the adjustment of kickoff time, so we get our West Coast teams on as well. And having a set time on CBS at 1:30 on August 17th, that Saturday, is tremendous, and that's because of Neil's great help and Dan.
Jerry, let me just correct this, Neil. It's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock on CBS Sports.
Even better.
Yeah. Hey, I was also going to ask, I know attendance kind of across the board took a hit, and I think a large part of that was due to the labor unrest, and now having the CBA, how important is that? Do you see that as being the emphasis to getting attendance back on board to where it was maybe even before the bankruptcy and all that? You see it getting back to that point?
Absolutely. It was crucial on a number of levels. To have labor peace is always a good thing, to make sure that our players feel appreciated, to be able to have our players, as Lynn and others addressed, being with teams for multiple years. Every sports team wants that, and having that in a 5-year long-term arrangement is a tremendous thing. We were moving towards that. And then even during the season, a number of our markets grew steadily along, and now having this 5-year seminal agreement, I think is another one of the building blocks for our foundation. Absolutely.
Hey, Richard, it's Ron Jaworski chiming in, and maybe I'll just expound upon the comments that have already been made. And I think your instincts were very good on the Arena Bowl. Obviously, my football team lost that game, but clearly I think some of the luster was taking off of that game by the time change. It aired in the Philadelphia market at 10:30 on a Saturday night. We lost a lot of our audience, and it was one of the things that the owners talked about is, we need to get a set time for the Arena Bowl. Yes, hey, I have an office at NFL Films. The NFL Network is based here. It's been a great relationship, but they are the NFL, so we got moved. We understand that. That's why this partnership is so great with CBS. We now know when we're going to be playing. We haven't determined where we're going to be playing. We can begin marketing today for August 17th, the Arena Bowl. That's the beauty of this relationship with CBS and why it's terrific now, and I know it will continue to grow. So clearly you're right on target when you talked about, the losing of the audience with that late game on a Saturday night. And I am also, you mentioned the attendance, and every owner, I can tell you this, every owner in the Arena Football League is well aware of the decline in attendance we had last week. This is a partnership. We compete on the field, but we all have to be partners with each other to grow our game, to grow our attendance. The fact that we now have labor peace, and I thank Ivan Soto and James Barron, they were hard negotiations to go through, but there is labor peace. Jerry said how important that is. We all know how important it is. Talk to the NFL. Talk to the National Hockey League, who's going through a difficult time right now. We have 5 years of labor peace where we can work with our players. The players, the union, they want to grow the game as well. We all share the same core values. How do we grow our game? So when I opened my part of this press conference, I said this is a historic day. It is, and we're touching a lot of points, and there's great excitement in the Arena Football League, and I think starting today there'll be some great excitement generated by the Arena League with our fans, that connection to grow our league.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Ron. Thanks, Jerry.
You bet, Richard.
Your next question comes from the line of Mike Spellman with the Daily Herald.
The status of the Chicago Rush ownership?
Chicago Rush is a partner, is a member in our league, on our schedule, and not to take any thunder away from and soon to be scheduled press conference. The Chicago Rush are here for a long time, part of the league, and on our 2013 schedule.
And how's the hunt going for new owners?
A team would not be on our schedule going forward without ownership.
Okay.
Now, how did you like that political non-answer?
that was the greatest non-answer ever.
But just saving it for another press conference later on.
Yes. Don't want to take away, as I said, rolling out their thunder the way they want to do it. However, we would not have Chicago Rush or any other team on our schedule this year without local ownership group as we have with all our other teams.
Can I just ask how soon that announcement might come?
Can't come soon enough for me. But it's up to them. Given this week with this announcement, I'm hoping before Thanksgiving. But, Thanksgiving cuts down available time next week as well.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your next question comes from the line of Tommy Birch with the Des Moines Register.
I was wondering, what's the status of the developmental league, and do your plans still include Iowa with that?
Absolutely. It was something that was on the clock for 2013, but I think we all know that some things had to be done. As we've all talked about, the great seminal, tremendous deal with our players at the AFL-PU, that had to take precedence because that's a strong foundational block. Owners have instructed staff again to put it back on the clock, and it's our goal to have AFL-DL, Arena Football Development League. The AF2 to the previous AFL was great, a great feeder ground. More than 40% of the players in the AFL came from the AF2, helped spread our brand, and so that's something that is one of our initiatives, one of our projects, and more will come out about that as time goes on. But yes, it is a priority for us, and Iowa is a priority for us as well.
When do you hope to have something set in stone?
Prior to the end of this season, the timing outline for it is to be able to roll it out by and at Arena Bowl 26.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Your last question comes from the line of George Birnbaum with the Gemstone Media.
My question is, what's the impact with CBS Sports coming in, the impact of local broadcast, and in addition to that, what's the shared broadcast support situation between teams? Is that going to continue on or no?
Absolutely. And the wonderful thing with working with Dan and his team over at CBS Sportsnet and with Neil's help at Anthony's and all our owners is that 75 to 80% of our games are on Saturday night. So, of course, we wanted, and our attendance has been better on Saturday night as well. You think about people having to get home, get back to an arena on Friday night, pick up their kids, etc., and put it on a great night for us. We were able to do that with Dan's help and others. However, owners did have a concern: was that going to keep our local teams from being able to do their regional television deal? Not at all. Because of Dan's leadership over at CBS Sports, Neil, Anthony, and others, we have a window that starts from 8, it goes to Z, so that when we do an East Coast game, we can still do our Midwest and our West Coast regional games, and vice versa. Before, with our previous partners, we could not get our West Coast teams on. Everybody thinks it was always because we didn't want to put them on. It would have been difficult to start, and it was difficult at times when we put Spokane and Utah and Arizona on at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday night. Now we can start at their regular kickoff time in their time zone and still have our East Coast teams be able to do their broadcast. But that's because of the great partnership we have. Dan, I don't know if you want to address that, or Neil as well.
This is Dan. I would just echo what Jerry said. You know, that national window was very important to us. It's something that we worked very closely with Jerry to establish, but at the same time, we understood that the local and the regional telecast windows were something that was really important to Jerry and the league. So we found some middle ground where both of us could be happy and both of us could kind of coexist on a week-to-week basis, and we're very pleased with how it's worked.
Neil?
That's as Dan said, that's the way it worked out.
They're being modest about their help.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Well, Anthony, if you'd like to close.
Yes, sir. We had an excellent involvement from different callers around the country. Thank you very much for all of your interest in the Arena Football League. Certainly from our perspective, the more interest that there is, the better. And thank you very much to Commissioner Kurz, to Mr. Pilson, Mr. Weinberg, of course, Lynn and Jaws, and all you guys who've done so much hard work to get us to this point. And, of course, as you all know, there's more hard work to come in moving towards the 2013 season and beyond. So all of you, please be aware, as I referenced earlier, the full regular season schedule will be released after we get off this conference call, and the primetime schedule, that grid, will come at a later date. That discussion still needs to, take place and be finalized between the league and between the CBS Sports Network, but that will be coming very soon as well. So we look forward to being able to announce the full primetime lineup that you guys will have for the AFL's National Game of the Week. So everyone, I believe that will conclude the call for now. You can check out the AFL's website, arenafootball.com, where we will post this full teleconference. We should be able to put that up by sometime later on today. So for those folks who may want to revisit it for some media notes, for many articles you'll be putting out, and those of you who just want to let your fan base know that they can listen to the audio of this teleconference online later, we'll have that on the AFL's website. And I might as well just note as well, you can follow us on Twitter at AFL Arena Ball. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. This concludes today's conference. You may now disconnect. Speakers, please hold the